Hey family, so I have some interesting dreams that I want to share with you guys today that I had the other night, and a few of them are pretty long. I might skip those and make separate videos for those, but the other night, I believe maybe like Monday or Tuesday this past week or this week, I had a vision about pestilence. So the in the dream, the only part that I really remember, I was I was laying on top of, or I was on top of a bunk bed, and I was on the top bunk, and I was looking down at a man that was sitting in a chair, and I knew this man was in a ceremony, like an award ceremony. Award ceremony, and he was he didn't have a shirt on, which I thought was strange after a while. But at first, I didn't really notice it. So, um, he was a black man, and he was sitting down, and he had these black sores all over his body. And at first, I just noticed like one or two small ones, and then as I kind of was being shown more around him, I started to notice he had bigger ones all over his body, and they looked rough, like almost like alligator skin, like a bumpy alligator skin. And for some weird reason, I had an affection for him, like I was like his wife, like a man, a husband to a wife, like an agape love, I guess, in sort of way, like a family type deep love for him. I felt this connection, and he was singing this song. He was singing some type of song, and I knew everybody was looking at him, like all the attention was on him at the moment. So I thought that was weird, but then, so when I woke up, I looked into to see if maybe there was some type of condition that would cause these black sores on the body, and I didn't really see anything that really spoke to me. But then that same day, I went on YouTube, and as soon as I went on YouTube, I saw a video from another brother about pestilence and some type of skin-eating disease that's leaving these black sores like on people's faces and arms and wherever else. And it just kind of, that spoke to me. And it's some type of skin-eating disease that's very that's growing a lot more than it's been in the last few years over in the Middle East, out of all places. And I saw that one woman had said that it started off as a mosquito bite. So that kind of really put a connection to some of the past dreams that I've had recently about the demons from the pit and these little insects that attach to you and spray you with this acidic, stinging spray, like goo that comes out of them. Like they explode, they attach to you and they explode, and they started shooting this goo out on you, and it burned and it stung. And that reminded me of the verse about the locust demons that come from the pit, and they have the power to sting for 5 months. It made me think about that. So, and then that connection of the mosquitoes with the stingers that that are giving this pestilence, this skin-eating disease from person to person, just kind of drew all that together for me. So I don't know if that's what's happening or what that was that I saw, but I definitely believe the Lord is kind of giving it a cue to pestilence coming or already happening. So the next dream was a very a run of dreams that I had the other night. And the first one that I wrote down, I was in my house or a room in a house, and I saw the sun rising, and I was watching it outside through the window. So it was really weird the way that I saw this, because it was like I could see beautiful colors in the sky, more like a sunset than a sunrise. So it kind of looked like a sunset and a sunrise together, but it wasn't rising like you normally see it. If you've ever watched a sunrise, it just kind of goes up and down, but it was going in an arc shape. So I saw the sun come up, and it got to the center of the arc at the top, and then it kind of started going back down. But when it went down, it was morning. Like, instead of it being sunset and it becoming nighttime, it got brighter, and it was daylight, and there was a bright blue sky, and I was like, oh, it's morning time. So, and I was watching all this happen through the trees. So, like, the sun rays were shining through the trees, and it was just like this beautiful scene that I was watching happen through the window. And as it became morning time, I noticed that the roof on the house that I was in, or on the room that I was on the top level, and the roof was rolled back, because like I could see it over to my right, and it was like rolled, and I was sitting up, looking outside, looking out in the distance, and I could see real far out into the land that was below me, and the sky was like a beautiful blue color, like a clear day, and I could feel the wind blowing on my face, and it was a very peaceful and serene type of moment. And but then after that, I had this thought, maybe I should close this roof before it rains. And then I woke up after that. So this next dream, I was with my wife and others. We went into the building we lived in. So it was like almost like a apartment building, but more like a hotel type of apartment building, and like a high rise or something like that. So it was kind of elegant once you went inside. But there was a woman, once we got into like the lobby area, there was a woman that was in charge of the front desk and in the lobby. She was an older black lady that was very nice, but I could tell she demanded respect. So it was more like a reverence that you would give to her, because when I came in, I started to walk by, and I saw her to the corner of my eye, and she said, talk to me, like greet me, like I know you're not gonna walk in here and not say anything to me. So it was like that type of feel. And so I said, how are you doing? And she spoke back to me, and then we pulled out these key cards that we had, and these key cards, they were red cards with this image on them, and you had to use the key card to get onto the elevator. So once you put the key card in, it would play a song that like represented I'm not sure exactly what it represented, but I felt like it represented either you, or it represented the way you were feeling at the moment. And mine had a song on, but I forget what the song was. So we got upstairs to our room, or to our, apartment, or whatever it was, and it was more like a living room, and then off to the side was a dining room, but it was kind of like a restaurant almost. And I noticed once we were in there, there were younger kids, probably like teenagers, that were sitting at a table where the dining area was. And these kids, it was four of them, and it seemed like they were on a date. It was two guys and two girls. And I realized they must have got in from us, because I knew they didn't have key cards, because they said something about it later in the dream. So I was talking to one of the kids, one of the boys, like we were in this conversation, and I was telling him about a time where I was in like a classroom, and in the classroom I was playing like a video game, and I was on this platform, and it was like a virtual video game. And I was telling him that I was on this platform, and in the game it was almost like either a roller coaster or a spaceship or something like that. And it was flying all around, doing loops and things like that. But on the platform, you could feel it was moving, like as if you were actually in the game. So it felt like very realistic, and I was telling him about this game, and he was like real interested, listening. And then one of their other friends that was coming to meet with them had called one of them on the phone and told them to come down to get them so that they can come up. So then they had asked if this person, I wasn't sure if it was a boy or girl, but they had asked if this person had a date with them, and they said no. And then one of the kids was like, "That's it." He says, "That's it." And he was thinking, like, I could tell that they didn't want to have a fifth wheel. And they started counting. They're like, "Oh, it's two boys and two girls. Now it's going to be more boys than girls, or more girls than boys," whatever it was. And they didn't want to go back down, because that's when one of them said that they didn't have a key card. And that's how I knew that they must have had come in from us, because they didn't have key cards to get in. So my wife had said she would go down with them to bring their friend back up, so they wouldn't get, because they thought if they went back downstairs without the key cards, they wouldn't be able to get back in. And I noticed that my wife had music playing on her phone, and I could tell that it was very faint, but I could hear some of the music, and it was weird because it was Kanye West, and the song sounded real demonic, and I could hear part of the lyrics. And the lyrics, one of the verses said something, he was saying something about he would die without the devil, or he would fail without the devil, or something like that. And I was like kind of confused, like, why is that playing through her phone? Because she doesn't listen to that type of music. And I wanted to turn it off before one of the other kids heard it, because I didn't want them thinking that we listened to that stuff. So, and I had woke up somewhere after that, or I went into the next dream. So this next dream was really interesting, because I was fighting against, I was definitely working as a gatekeeper in this dream. And I was let me just tell you about the dream. I was in a house, and I went to the back door. Like, I knew somebody was at the back door, so I went to the back door. There was an Asian lady there that asked if I could let her in. I asked if she was an angel, and she said yes. Then I asked, how are you an angel? And she said something about lighting candles, lighting. I think she said she was able to light 6 candles or something. So I was like, okay. And I went to let her in. And so the door, it was like one of those old school white, like aluminum type doors. And it had like a window where you could see, where like a screen would be, so you could see outside without having to open the door all the way up. So she was standing at the door, and I went to go let her in, and then and then like I had this thought to look over her more without letting her all the way, and she was like kind of coming in, and then I noticed she had this black apron on, and on the apron, like right here, she had this design, this like logo, and it looked like a demon that had like flames coming from his head, and I said, "You're a demon," and she had looked at me like in surprise, like, "Uh-oh, how do you know that?" And then it's like as soon as I knew that, I was like, "You're a demon, get out of here, you're not allowed in this place." And I started yelling at her and just casting her out, and she went running outside, running away from the house. And I went running outside behind her, and I was standing on the top step, and I was pointing at her, and I was telling her, "Go back to the pit of hell where you came from. You don't belong here. You're not allowed in. You don't have the right to enter this place." And I was just yelling at her and casting her out in the name of Jesus. And then I believe, like, it's kind of fuzzy, the image that was going on, the scenery that was going on there, but I believe I saw a pit, and I saw other demons, and then I knew once I saw them, it was like a gang of them, a unit, and I knew that they were coming to attack me. Then I had this thought, I had this feeling that I felt I should run, I should escape. So I went running out, and excuse me, I was running outside, out front, and in the parking lot, it looked like where I grew up at, and there's like the street where everybody parks at, and then the middle of the street, and then there's other houses right across the street, and there are like big trees and stuff behind the houses. So it looked kind of like that, and I ran into the middle of the street, and I looked up into the sky, and I said, "Jesus, take me now." And as I said that, I had this thought to either fly into the sky, or try to jump into the sky. So I jumped, and I started flying like up in the sky, but then I landing down on top of one of the houses, on the roof of one of the houses. So then I started jumping from roof to roof, and these houses were not close together. They were miles apart. So I'm leaping from house to house, roof to roof, and I came back down to one spot. I finally stopped, and it was like this rocky area, almost like a rock wall, like a mountain range, sort of. If you've ever gone like mountain climbing or been around mountains, how like the side of the mountain looks like a rock wall. It was like that. So I stopped, and I knew that there were more demon soldiers, enemy soldiers, that were looking for me. And I didn't know where else to run. But then I had this, like, I heard in my spirit, I heard the Holy Spirit say, "Hide behind this rock." So there was a rock wall on my right side, and he said, "Hide behind this rock, and I'll hide you." So I ran over to the rock, and I crouched down into like a ball laying on the ground behind the rock wall, and then I looked up, and I saw two enemy soldiers come over, and they were looking for me, searching for me. So I closed my eyes because I thought, are they going to see me? And they started walking over to my direction, but they didn't notice me. They never saw me. And then that's when I knew I was invisible, and the Holy Spirit had put a cover over me so they couldn't see me. And I woke up after that. So I have one other dream, but I think I'll save that one because there's a lot of stuff that happened in that dream, a lot of images that were, I don't know, there's so much symbolism in that dream that I don't even want to speak about it until I do some more research on it. But so I just wanted to share these dreams with you guys because they were very interesting to me, and I know there's a lot of symbolism in them that you guys might, something might pop out to you that you guys might be able to explain from your own, whatever the Spirit's giving to you. And sorry if I didn't. I know usually I'll give an interpretation of my dreams and add scripture to that, but today I just really wanted to just share those dreams with you, and maybe you have your own interpretation, but either way, I love you guys. God bless, and stay vigilant.